Okay, I hope that I'm live in front of everybody. We will be having the NCERT markings for the chapter Nationalism in India. So please stay tuned throughout the session. Okay, everyone. So we're getting started with the chapter that is Nationalism in India. I request everyone to open their textbooks so that we can mark the important points from there. So let's get started with it. Wait a second. All right. Now, talking about this page, which is important over here, I hope you can see. What you have to understand from here is from here, a question is asked from this paragraph. That is, how did the First World War create a new economic and political situation? So, in that question, what are you going to write? Is this. These are the points. It led to huge increase in defense expenditure, which was financed by the war loans, right? So wait a second. Now I think it is visible. It is better. Okay, so what do you have to write? Create the war created a new economic and political situation. How? Because it led to a huge increase in defense expenditure, which was financed by war loans and increasing taxes. So taxes were increased during that time. After the First World War, the taxes were increased, because of which the economic situation changed. Defense expenditure, if I'm talking about that, that also increased substantially. Okay, now, so this can be written in the question if it is asked. Now, through the warriors, prices increased. So prices actually doubled between the years 1913 and 1918, leading to extreme hardship for the common people. Mark this, please. Extreme hardship for the common people, meaning that the people were struggling. Wait a second, what happened? Okay, sorry for the disturbance that was created. Okay. Now, extreme hardship for the common people. Villagers were called upon to supply soldiers. So now the supply of soldiers was also asked, that we need soldiers. And forced recruitment. What is forced recruitment? A process by which the colonial state forced people to join army. So people were forced to join the army. Okay. Sorry for some disturbance. Is it visible? Okay. Now we are talking about the forced recruitment, that people were forced to join the army. Okay. And because of this, it caused widespread anger. Because if somebody is going to force you to join the army, even you would be unhappy. Yes. Then in 1918-19, crops failed in many parts of the country. You'll write this point also. Because of the failure of crops, what happened? There was acute shortage of food. If the crops are going to be failed, if your cultivation wouldn't be proper, then you will have shortage of food. Okay, this was accompanied by an influenza epidemic. Influenza is flu. According to the census of this 12 to 13 million people, this data should be clear to you. They perished, meaning die, as a result of famines and epidemic because of problem of food as well as disease. Okay, so this is one of the questions that can be asked, that how did the First World War create a new economic and political situation? Second question which is asked in boards is the idea of Satyagraha, which talks about Mahatma Gandhi when he returned to India. What was his plan? So let's understand that. So basically over here you will find the idea of Satyagraha, which says, which emphasize the power of truth. So we need to search for the truth. It suggested that if the cause was true, if the struggle was against injustice, then physical force was not necessary to fight the oppressor. So you can write the answer from over here. It focused on truth. That truth, if you'll seek for the truth, then without violence also you can basically Wait a second. So you can write it over here. You can fight the oppressor with the help of non-violence also. So this can be written over here. And the three Mahatma Gandhian movements, Satyagraha movement, they are very important. This idea of Satyagraha, one question from this paragraph, I've told you have to write this. Now, second, the three movements, just highlight them. First is the Champaran movement in Bihar, okay, to inspire the peasants to struggle against the oppressive plantation system. Then we talk about Satyagraha to support peasants of Kheda. Then we talk about the Kheda movement in Gujarat, and the last one was Ahmedabad. Kheda was related to the peasants of Kheda could not pay the revenue. They were not able to pay their revenue, their tax. So they were demanding that revenue collection be relaxed. So revenue collection should be relaxed a bit. And then we talk about Ahmedabad movement, okay, against the cotton mill workers. So from this, if I'm talking about this page number 30, this introduction topic and idea of Satyagraha. Then introduction topic, one question I've told you, idea of Satyagraha, this paragraph, which in which you have to mention why the idea of Satyagraha is important. Then we talk about the Rowlatt Act. Before that, let me come on the screen to speak a few things. Now, first and the foremost thing that you have to remember is whenever they are asking you about idea of Satyagraha, you have to write the relevant points. Points like you have to talk about this. The need to search for truth, that is very important. If the cause was true, if the struggle was against injustice, then physical force was not necessary to fight the oppressor. You don't need weapons, you don't need violence to actually fight against, to defeat the oppressor, to defeat your enemy. No, non-violence and satyagraha, satya khile yagrah, right? That is the meaning of satyagraha, that you are searching for the truth. So, without seeking vengeance, vengeance meaning revenge, feeling of revenge or oppression or being aggressive. A satyagrahi could win the battle through non-violence. This could be done by appealing to the conscience of the oppressor. The oppressors, the enemies, had to be persuaded to see the truth, okay? Without using force, to accept the truth through violence. So instead of accepting the truth through violence, the oppressor can be basically what, persuaded to see the truth, as we can see over here. Then the three movements I told you, Champaran, Kheda and Ahmedabad, very important questions are asked. Then 1.2 talks about the Rowlatt Act. Okay, so over here you can see the Rowlatt Act, which is over here. Rowlatt Act is a very important topic, and one question which is asked is also given in NCERT back exercise. Over here you can see why Indians were outraged by the Rowlatt Act. That is another important question. Okay, so it's better for us to discuss that in our next session. We'll be discussing about, let me tell you the things that we have to discuss in the upcoming session. Just a second. Okay, now let me tell you the things that we have to discuss. Now, number one, in today's session I talked about First World War, then I talked about the idea of Satyagraha and the Satyagraha movements. Now we have to talk about the Rowlatt Act. Okay. Along with the Rowlatt Act, we have to talk about the non-cooperation movement. In the non-cooperation movement, you have a lot of questions, that is the differing strands. Differing strands meaning how did the non-cooperation movement spread? If I'm talking about the cities, if I'm talking about the countryside, if I'm talking about the tribal movements, okay, if I'm talking about the Swaraj and the plantation workers, so how did the movement spread? We'll talk about that. Why was the movement, basically, why did Mahatma Gandhi call a halt to the non-cooperation movement? Why was it stopped? And then we talk about the civil disobedience movement and all the facts about civil disobedience movement. So we are ending the session over here. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.